Video, we're going to go over the lesson 1.1 variables. And variables are items that are created in a program that can hold on to information that we can use later. And so we can hold on to numbers, strings, and strings are just a sentence or a name or something that is text-based. We can hold on to lists, we can hold on to other variable data, and there's a number of other things we can do. But these are the basics that we're going to work with here for the first couple of weeks. And you are able to change the value of a variable at any point, and once it has been changed, it is impossible to recover the previous data. So if I have a variable holding on to the number 4, and then I change it to the string Mr. Miller, in order to get it back to the number 4, I would have to reprogram or resave that variable to save the number 4. So variables hold information that we can use in our programs. The following example demonstrates the use of variables. In this example, the variable message is going to hold on to the string hello Python world, or in this case I just wrote hello world. Then we use the print command to display the information stored inside that variable message. So message is equal to, and the equal sign is not saying like checking to see if something is equal to something. It is just a way of assigning a specific string or a number to that variable. So it's not checking to see if message is equal to hello world. It's just saying that message is going to be holding on to the string hello world. And then, as I stated up here, the print command is going to print out whatever I ask it to print out. And in this case, message. And if I had typed that wrong or typed a different variable in there, then it would print out whatever was in there, or it would throw an error that we would have to go fix and debug. So it's important to follow the syntax when working with Python. In this case, the equal sign is known as the assignment operator. We'll go over operators later. Variables can only contain letters, numbers, and underscores. And variable names can start with a letter or an underscore, but cannot start with a number. Spaces are not allowed in variable names, so we use underscores instead of spaces. So instead of saying student with a space name, we're going to say student underscore name. And if you've done any other programming languages, such as JavaScript, in that language they used a variable declaration method called camel case. And what that does is that uses a lowercase first letter, and then if there are two words that are put together, they add a larger or an uppercase letter as the start of the second one. So you know where the split in the words as you're reading the variables. You can figure out where the split would be, or where that underscore in this case would be. But for Python, we're going to use an underscore that will give us the ability to understand what this variable is without using spaces. You cannot use Python keywords, and if you click on this link, it'll take you to a listing of keywords that they will not allow you to use. And variable names should be very descriptive without being too long. So example, MC wheels is better than just wheels, and it's also much better than number of wheels on a motorcycle. So MC wheels is standing for motorcycle wheels. Student name is just easier, you know what you're talking about, instead of just having the word name there, because name could be anything. But student name is understood to be the name of a particular student. And you also need to be very careful about using the lowercase letter L and the uppercase letter O in places where they could be confused with numbers 1 and 0. So you have to be careful with that and read through your code and make sure that everything looks good when you're working on that. So to run this very first example, the message equals hello world, I have followed the previous example, and the previous example walked through the development of a folder system and saving our Python 1.1 variables file. And so if I say in here message equals hello world, the exclamation point, the variable is going to show up as black, and the string is going to show up as green. If I said message equals 4, it doesn't have a specific color. There's no color to a number on here. But so message equals hello world. I know that that hello world is a string. And so my second part there was to say print. And then it gives you some ideas of what you need to have afterwards. And in this case, we're just looking for the value. And the value we're looking for is the variable message. And when I do my parenthesis at the other end, it takes that part away. It flashes a little bit. Let's see, watch that again. It flashes, letting it know that I have completed this parenthesis wrap. And in order to make this thing run, in idle, up here across the top, I'm going to go to run module. It's going to say the source must be saved. So I hit OK. And then over here on the shell, you'll see that it runs this file and outputs the string hello world, because hello world was saved into the variable message. So message is just a kind of like a box. It's holding on to things. It can hold on to one thing at a time. And one thing we'll look at it a little bit later is that if I said message equals 5 and then print message again, so I have it message equals hello world, print the message, it should say hello world. If I tell it now message equals 5, it should print whatever the most recent change has been. So if I save this and then go run module again, should say hello world, and then 5 comes right after it, because the message, the box, the variable is holding on to a new value. So sometimes you'll get an error, and the error that is most common when using variables is that you accidentally misspell a specific variable that you're trying to do. And you can see that this one, message equals Python programming, is a lot of fun. And then when I went to print the variable, I forgot an S. And so what happens with that, and we'll try this too, and I suggest that you put it on your idle program as well, that if we take out one of these S's just to see what it's going to do, and I save this, a quick way of saving is by going Command S. That'll save it very quickly, or you can file save, or you can go run and run module, and it'll ask you to save there too. And you can see that when I have that mistake, it runs up to that point, and then it gives me an error. It says, it throws that back, and it says we have some kind of an error, and it is located in this file and on this line in the module. So whatever I was running, whatever program I was running, it was on line number 4, and you can see that it says print message, and I was like, I can see that that is not the right variable. And so if I go back in there to line number 4, I should be able to fix this error. And where is it? Show lines. Where's the line numbers? Thought it was right here. It is not. Oh, there it is. Options. Show line numbers. It puts out an invisible to the program line number, but it actually, then when I know exactly what line I'm going to. So if I hit S there and save it and then run this again, you should see that this time it runs with no problem. So I would suggest trying that to make sure that your program is going to run correctly. Try making this error and then debugging or solving that problem. So it's pretty important to make sure that when we are working with variables that we're using the correct variable. Because if I did have another one that had one S, there might be an issue that I'll get the wrong data going through the process, the program. So after this, there are 4 different practices that I'd like you to do. And the first one is going to have you create a variable and assign a string as demonstrated above. So you could use this right here as your very first practice 1. And the second practice problem is to create a variable and assign a string as demonstrated above, and then print out the variable, and then store a new string in the existing variable, and then print out the variable again. So it's very similar to what I did here, except for you're going to create a string instead, and you're going to print that out twice. So each time you do your projects, when you make sure that it runs, afterwards, I'm going to have you do 3 double quotes at the beginning and 3 double quotes at the end. And then you can put practice number 1 or practice problem number 1. And then, so this is the first one. Let me take this part out because it's just the string with the message. And then I can come down here and I can say, there it is again. Goodbye. So this is my second problem. And so I have a string. I print the message. I save a new string into that same message and then print it again. And I know that I need to come through here and change those quotation marks because it's not green. And when I save it this time and I run, it will not run this top code. It will only run the bottom code. This is called commenting the code, and this is one way that we're going to leave our existing code, the stuff we've already done, leave it on the screen, so when I'm looking through the assignment, I can see exactly what you've done here. I can see the previous ones, because if you turned in one file and it only had one part of all these practices, then I don't really know that you've gone through the entire thing. So I want to make sure that we're going through all of these different problems. So when I get down to this one, I'll do 3 quotes and say practice problem number 2. And then at the end of the code, I'm going to do 3 more. Practice problem number 3 is to create 5 different print statements. And we don't have to just use variables to print things. I can do print, and inside here I can write a string. Hello, Bob. Print. Have a little conversation maybe. That's practice problem number 4. I'm going to change this right now as you're watching. The 5 statements should be all about you. There you are. Name, grade, favorites, etc. So there you go. Live as we're doing the project. Hello, my name is Mr. Miller. I am in the 37th grade. Not really. Print. And you can see that I have a space on some of them. I like to have it nice and clean so it's easier to read the code. So if I say my favorite color is blue. If you forget to do your quotation marks, when you come down here, it won't line up the exact same. So I want to make sure you finish that one. Hit print. I like ice cream. Print. Have a, whoop. I have 2 black labs. There we go. 5 statements using strings inside of the parentheses. So I'm having 5 different things I'm writing out. And because I use quotation marks, the triple quotes around these previous ones, they have been commented out, which means that they are no longer visible to the running program, and they'll just be hiding in the background of the code, so we can see that later. Run module, yes, I need to save. You should see my 5 print statements right there. And then number 4 is to create a 6-line conversation. So you're saying, hi, Bob, hi, Sue, and you're going to use the variables to store all 6 lines. And so you'll have at the beginning, greeting 1, hello, my name is Bob. And then greeting 2, hi, Bob, my name is Sue. And then greeting, or statement 1, or however you want to name your different variables. You can do it however you like. But you want to have a 6-line conversation, like a hello, hello, here's some information, goodbye, goodbye. So six different sentences being stored. And then you're going to use the print command to print the variables one at a time. And it should look like a conversation of sorts. But when you get all done with this, you have all of these practice problems completed, and they're all saved. That's when you go to Schoology, and you go into our variable strings, numbers, and comments. Nope, sorry, wrong one. Back here to lesson 1.1. Oh, after you get all of 5 of these done, I was in the right one. When you get all 5 of these done, you're going to use the submit assignment box and choose the 5 files that you've created for all of these projects, and turn them in here. If you have any questions about this process of creating a file to save here, or anything about lesson 1.1 variables, please let me know and I can answer the question.